Good afternoon. It's Wednesday afternoon. It's Meet the Saints Day here at St. Leonard, different perspective of the church. Today we are meeting Saint Elizabeth of Hungary up here on the wall, and Charlie Fala is so kind to take us through the saint. Hi, Charlie.
Hi family. How you doing? Hope everybody's safe and well on this Wednesday afternoon. Today I'd like to speak a little on Saint Elizabeth of Hungary, who is a secular Franciscan in the Third Order of St. Francis. How I first met Saint Elizabeth of Hungary was in my own profession, formation, studying for the secular Franciscan order back in 2002 I was professed, and to learn more about the Franciscan saints. And I thought she was totally loved Jesus, and the way Jesus lived the poor as in St. Francis of Assisi. And let me tell you now a little bit about her. In her short life, Elizabeth manifested such great love for the poor and suffering that she has become the patroness of Catholic charities and of the secular Franciscan order. The daughter of the King of Hungary, Elizabeth chose a life of penance and asceticism, when a life of leisure and luxury could easily have been hers. This choice endeared her in the hearts of the common people throughout Europe. At the age of 14, Elizabeth was married to Louis of Thuringia, whom she deeply loved. She bore 3 children under the spiritual direction of a Franciscan friar. She led a life of prayer, sacrifice, and service for the poor and sick. Seeking to become one of the poor, she wore simple clothing. Daily she would take bread to hundreds of the poorest in the land who came to her at the gate. After 6 years of her marriage, her husband died in the Crusades, and Elizabeth was grief-stricken. Her husband's family looked upon her as squandering the royal purse and mistreated her, finally throwing her out of the palace. The return of her husband's allies from the Crusades resulted in her being reinstated, since her son was legal heir to the throne. In 1228, Elizabeth joined the secular Franciscan order, spending the remaining few years of her life caring for the poor in the hospital, which she founded in honor of St. Francis of Assisi. Elizabeth's health declined, and she died before her 24th birthday in 1231. Her great popularity resulted in her canonization 4 years later after her death. And as you see, she is holding in her cloak roses. Well, there's a miracle of those roses that Elizabeth, perhaps best known for her of the miracle of roses, which says Willis, she was taking bread to the poor. In a secret, she met her husband, Ledwick, on a hunting party, who, in order to quell suspicion of the gentry that she was stealing treasure from the castle, asked her to reveal what was hidden under her cloak. In that moment, her cloak fell open and a vision of white and red roses could be seen, which proved to Ledwick that God's protecting hand was at work. Saint Elizabeth of Hungary is the patron saint of bakers, which I didn't know because early on in my life I was a baker, studied the culinary arts. And she's also the Catholic for Catholic Charities and the Secular Franciscan Order. And I am also engaged in the region of the Secular Franciscan Order of the Saint Elizabeth of Hungary in the northeast of this country, which is Plattsburgh, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, down to the far as the Cape Cod. There are 28 fraternities under her region, and I am part of the Regional Executive Council of the St. Elizabeth of Hungary region. She works with the poor. She had worked with the poor and the unfortunate, and I have taken that in my own life before I retired, but still am looking at the poor and trying to help when I can. So I hope I had enough information and you got to know a little bit more about St. Elizabeth of Hungary, and thank you for all for listening and watching. God bless.